When a politician tells you what they're going to do and it involves restricting your rights and giving your power to them, believe them.
If we elect 2 more senators, we keep the House and Democrats, we're going to get a lot of unfinished business we're going to get done. We'll ban assault weapons.
When it comes to the gun conversation, I'm never more frustrated than when I'm conversing with the "they're not trying to take your guns, they just want reasonable gun law" types.
We're developing, through technology, an ability for consumers to measure their own carbon footprint. What does that mean? That's where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So, individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
Results are not valid. They are illegitimate.
Protesters are demanding that, quote, legal votes be counted and a change in the Arizona elections process. They want quicker results and hand counts. Chairman Bill Gates with the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors says since 2006, it takes an average of 12 and a half days to post final results.
It gives the appearance of fraud, period. You can't undo that. You can't unring that bell. It looks like fraud. It smells like fraud.
Protester and Mesa School Board candidate Chris Hamlet is referring to issues with the tabulation machines on Election Day.
Count the legal votes! Count the legal
And the news of the collapse of the crypto trading firm FTX comes as a blow for the Democrats. The FTX founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, has been a major force for the Democrats. According to Open Secrets, the 30-year-old ranked as the second biggest individual donor in the 2021 to 2022 election cycle. Bankman-Fried had made donations worth $39.8 million US. That ranks only behind George Soros, who donated around $128 million US. And in the 2020 US presidential elections as well, he was a major donor to President Joe Biden.
Welcome to Burn Babylon Burn. This is not a news show. It's an opinion show. We encourage you to do your own research. We do not give financial, legal, medical, or any kind of advice. Now enjoy the show.
Welcome to Burn Babylon Burn, episode 28. At this point, things are just getting more interesting, and we're spiraling a little bit more. Somehow we have another senile person that has no ability to speak going into the Senate. This makes it a record at this point. I don't think any country in the world has ever had as many senile, speechless people, incoherent people in office. And then we've got a lot more fun going on from there. Andy O, what's your first topic?
Well, I saw MSNBC the other day trying to talk about a Fetterman presidency, and I was thinking about what that would look like. And you know what it turns out? It would look like it would look exactly like Joe Biden's presidency. He's got a teleprompter that he reads, and he stumbles on words. He says goodbye when he means hello. There's many things that parallel Fetterman and Biden, and I guess one thing, there's a lot of slobs out there, and they probably elected that slob. I mean, like you get what you are,
I was sitting there. Yes, was it this? No, it was yesterday. This is just the contrast, and this is just a small example. And I know you disagree with some of this example, but I was laying carpet yesterday in the Section 8 house that I'm working on, and I was laying down carpet, and I was listening to Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro, and Benjamin Netanyahu have a 2-hour conversation over dinner. And it was deep, it was intellectual, and there's a lot of things to, there's a lot of depth to their conversation, and you can see all the different ways their minds are going and all this other type of stuff. But if you were to get Kamala Harris if you were to get Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, and Mr. Fetterman into the same room. What would the words? I would love just to see what the sign language people would be doing. They'd just be pausing, just like, I don't know how to.
I don't think Obama and Susan Rice could keep up with the earpieces on that. It's amazing that they're able to do what they do with Puppet Joe. But yeah, so there's a lot of fallout coming from this, and this is really the Republicans' fault as far as Pennsylvania goes for making Oz the nominee. Laverne Spicer probably would have done a lot better. And
is that the black lady that was on Timcast? Yeah, I agree with you. That she was awesome. She understood everything.
So wait, we figured out that people no longer trust doctors, but they do trust people that have been injured by doctors because I don't know with 100% certainty, but I have a feeling that he got his stroke from injecting certain experimental things that a whole bunch of people injected recently. So yeah, that's why I think Fetterman's the way he does, and I really hope that turns into a verb. It's going to be more entertaining for the clown show, and we're going to losing Oz is no big loss.
No.
But losing the possibility of a Senate majority is a big loss because as you saw, I curated some clips in the beginning of the show. And one thing, if they can do it, they're definitely coming after our guns this session. If they can do it, they're definitely going to try to get us on carbon trackers and keep us in the whole matrix of the kind of track and trace. Why can't I remember the name of it? I think of it all the time. ESG. They're going to get us on this ESG system, and that's when the central bank digital currency rolls out, and that's when the what is it called? The stupid Yang thing. I can't believe people gave so much attention to Yang, where they give you free money. What is it called?
Damn it!
Losing my mind here.
This one too. What's it called?
I don't know. It's free money. Yeah. So when they get a
universal basic income.
Universal basic income. Yeah.
UBI,
when they get all of these, so these things are definitely on their agenda. More climate tyranny is on the agenda, and so when these things start rolling around, we're not going to have as much opposition. And really, it was the House that really kept us from the most insane government overreach on our Second Amendment. That was insane, and the House stopped it. But who knows if the House can still stop it at this point? It looks like the House is about to be 50-50 too.
So, well, with the House, it looks like it's going to be a little bit ahead on the House count.
But not much.
Yeah, with the Senate, it's going to be 50-50 or just barely. Personally, this is where, if it's not a big blowout for the Republicans and for liberty, I'd prefer that the Democrats control it for this round, unless it was a big blowout, because that way the Democrats get blamed. Because if the Republicans were in control of the House and the Senate in a major way, the economy is going to crash more.
Right.
The economy is definitely going to crash more, and if the economy crashes more, I don't want them to be able to say it's because the Republicans stopped us from spending more money. They'll
do that anyway.
I know.
And the media will back it up.
But it takes away their narrative, because
right.
Hopefully, this gets us away from that cycle.
Enduring a Great Depression for this is not worth it. And so, and also, let's put the blame where it really belongs on the money they printed for COVID.
Yes.
And that's why all of these economic problems are coming our way. And so let's see what else we picked up on the FTX story. I highly recommend checking out Liberty Lockdown's episode this morning. Clint did a big thing on it, and he's big on economics. And so this guy has this corporation, and his mother is a Democrat activist, and so he's giving all this money to Democrats. Now, it looks like they found out that money from, that was being sent to the Ukraine was being put into an account of FTX and then coming back to the United States to fund people's elections. Now, I want to see this thing get fully exposed. It's a mess. And yeah, I mean, this is just blatant corruption, and it looks like there's, that's where the 10% to the big guy went.
Yeah. Well,
and that's how.
So this is one thing that I've heard tossed back and forth several times. People, and to me, this is like, if I listen to Ben Shapiro, for example, he says that Donald Trump is a reason that they lost the midterms. Or that we lost the midterms. Now, if I listen to Styx Hexenhammer or Scott Adams, both of those guys say the reason was that the Democrats put their money behind the right candidates, whereas Mitch McConnell put his money, like, for example, Mitch McConnell put tons and tons of money in a race in Alaska that is a race between a MAGA Republican candidate and a RhinoCon Republican candidate. So Mitch McConnell just flooded money into Alaska to try to stop the MAGA person getting elected against another Republican. And so
his self-preservation of power
for the RhinoCons, and the warmongers.
Right.
And what's your opinion on that? Because to me, I'm not blaming Trump for this one. I'm blaming the RhinoCons for this one, that have maintained power for a long period of time. And they're scared of the MAGA candidates taking the power away from them.
Well, I mean, they just shot themselves in the foot, and Alaska should be guaranteed, and as far as being a red state, and yeah, I mean, shooting themselves in the foot. The thing is, what it tells you is whose side that McConnell's on.
Yes,
McConnell is not on our side at all, and we've known this for a while. So,
well, he is very savvy. Like, one thing we can thank McConnell for, and one thing we can thank Trump for, is judges. And the judges, they're blocking the bailouts for the schools right now. That's basically done. The bailouts for school loan debt, that's basically done. So I can thank McConnell for being savvy and actually pushing judges through under Trump. That's the only thing I can think of.
Notice when it went away.
Oh, yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
It goes away in the week after the midterms. So all these people think they're getting a free $10,000 and they're voting Democrat. And then it gets taken away by judges. Actually, Republicans had very little to do with it. I mean, I guess other than appointing the judges, but yeah, it was an empty promise that they knew wasn't going to work and wasn't going to happen.
But I guarantee you that they sat there and I guarantee you the Democrats sat there and they timed it out perfectly. We put it through here. It's going to take so long to process through this lowercase judge. It's going to take so long to process through the next judge. And I guarantee you that they actually had a little planning meeting where they figured out what time frame was the proper way to set it so that it did not die before the closing of the polls.
Like, how could we have not seen this coming?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Pelosi said it wasn't going to happen when before it even started.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, Nancy Pelosi said that. that was a fun one. So, but to me, where this ties back into the crypto stuff with this interesting crypto crash that's happening. We find out that the money somehow went to Ukraine and then got back into the Democrats' playbook so that they could flood money into certain elections, so that they could, basically, like, I think, what was his name? Blake Masters. He had 18,000. No, sorry, not 18,000, 18 million. And the person that he's running against in Arizona had 80 million in their war chest. 80 million versus 18 million. That's how this was played out. But Blake Masters was a MAGA candidate. So Mitch McConnell didn't push more in there. So we can still say it's Mitch's fault on a certain level. But somehow this crypto money flooded everywhere from this. So tell us a little bit more about this story, because this is fascinating to me.
So where I'm at right now, I've been telling people, and yet again, not giving financial advice. I've been telling people to go for tangibles, go for tools, and solid gold, silver. Go for just smaller things, units that you can keep with you, because it looks like, all of our paper money even is really digital at this point. That they weren't, whenever they printed all the money for the scamdemic, they even checked it this way. It's like, oh, did we print $6 trillion? No, we didn't print it. Oh, no, you made it digitally. And that's how they pulled their little fact check scam on that. Now, since money is the stuff that they call money is really not real anymore, get things that are real, get things that you can use, get things that can convert something else into something. I met a guy who's been hedging on concrete, and that might be one of the smartest things you can do. Hedge on lumber, hedge on stone, steel, those kinds of things. You can think of it. It's something that people will probably need, and it'll probably get driven up in price as the price of shipping goes up, because the price of fuel is going up, because the price of energy is going up, because they have told the energy companies that they're going to put them out of business, basically.
My mom has a pet bull. You heard that right. A pet bull. It's a miniature bull. Costs $1,000 to buy one of those jokers. And she was like, he's getting really aggressive. I want to cut his nuts off. And it's like, why? It's like, you literally bought him a female cow, miniature female cow, so that he could have a wife. That's what you told me. And it's like, why would you want to cut his balls off? Let him reproduce. It's tangible money that's sitting there that's consistent. $1,000 to $3,000 every single year, easy, once they mature in another year. But for her, she's a liberal, and it's like, oh, no, I want him to be nice. I want him to be like a little cuddly pet. It's like, it's not going to be a cuddly pet. It's a fucking bull. You can't change reality. You cannot change reality, but you can use reality to your advantage. We're going through a shit show right now, and it's going to turn down more. I guarantee you, on the crypto note though, if Bitcoin goes to $10,000, I'm taking everything I have and putting it into Bitcoin. If it goes that low.
I don't know if that's really the maneuver. We might end up losing all the money that we have in it at this point. One of the things that came out of this FTX thing is that they're now trying to regulate crypto even more. Janet Yellen has been chomping at the bit for this, because not only does she want to regulate crypto, she wants to tax your crypto. So, crypto might just be out. And I hate to sound so gloomy on it, but because it was a lot of people's hope for a long time, but it might be.
The interesting thing about crypto, with them putting more regulations on it, is it makes it safer for big investors to invest in it. So luckily, it looks like the big investors took a hit. Like BlackRock, for example. BlackRock was into this. What's this guy's name again? Oh, I love this guy's name.
Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah. Well, another way to describe it is Bankman-Fried. A Bankman-Fried. I just really like that interpretation of his name. A Bankman-Fried. But whenever you get into so basically it looks like BlackRock lost a lot of money. It looks like CRT is getting pounded into oblivion right now, which is it's a very interesting thing that's going on, especially with Elon Musk getting Twitter and all this other stuff, not allowing people to work from home anymore, getting rid of the social justice woke crap that's going on, at least inside of Twitter because he now owns it. But basically with what's going on whenever it comes to crypto is there's going to be more money. 'Cause, like here's an example, and this is it's not a this is not a show to advise you on money, but for me, what I'm personally doing is I'm focusing on getting real estate and renting out real estate in Section 8 because the government's guaranteeing the money. They can just print the money. So I'm focusing on that. What happens whenever crypto becomes more legit because it's more regulated, banks that are scared of the stock markets will continue flooding money into Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two main ones that they're going to put money into. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're just going to keep putting money into them. So it's going to boost back up. Right now, I guarantee you, banks across the world are buying Bitcoin at this moment because it's in their mind, an all-time low. If the market crashes more, it would be interesting to see if it drops by half again, or if everybody just gets out of the stock market and buys Bitcoin, and then it just starts shooting up. So that's going to be, we can come back to this in 6 months and see where my prediction is. I think crypto is going to start doing this. Well, not altcoins, not Dogecoin and stuff like that. Dogecoin's only going to go up if Elon Musk talks about it. But Bitcoin, I think, is going to start doing this because I think the stock market is going to start tanking.
I could see stocks tanking for sure, but I don't see crypto moving very much in the near future. I think that there's too many things that could damage it overall. There's these corruption stories, and this is not the first and only one. So I think that's going to flow in a little bit more throughout the year. I'm personally on tangibles, and I consider land a tangible. So yeah, for sure, go for land. And I'm actually going for land right now. I just talked to a real estate agent this morning. So.
Oh, I totally encourage people to do that. I mean, land is definitely the way to go. And part of the reason, like for me, my strategy with land is that I can talk to people that have money in the real estate, that have money in the stock market, for example, and I can go, look, it's going crazy. Pull your money out, or just pull 10,000 out. I can help you buy a house, and that house can get you $1,300 a month consistently. So that comes out to around $18,000 a year. It costs you, if I get it for 10, it's going to cost you maybe 15 to get it fixed up and be able to rent it out. And then you're going to have consistent money stream coming in from that. It's just going to consistently grow year over year. And with the stock market doing this, that's going to be a good selling point that I can bring to people and get them into understanding what real ownership is. Because owning a piece of, owning a piece of a company, which is the stock market, owning a piece of a company that is being flooded with fake money. It's, it goes up and then it just crashes. And that's what we're going to see. I don't see any way at this point that we can avoid a depression. Last week, I thought we could avoid a depression if the Republicans actually had a red wave. But at this point, I'm not even sure we're going to get a red trickle.
Well, it looks like the Fed is doing the best they can to preserve the dollar, and I would definitely recommend checking out what Tom Luongo has to say on this, because he's kind of a lone voice on the collapse that we're dealing with. But in his estimation, the Fed is the World Economic Forum's biggest rival, and so I think that's worth checking out for sure. And then, holding dollars might not be the worst idea, but I think that what happened to crypto is that it was given enough time that schemers found a way to scheme. And it wasn't schemy at first, and it became real schemy. It became all these ridiculous altcoins and all these other things. The shit coins just were coming out of the moon, and so there was a time to make money off of that too, but I think those days might be over, and I don't know if they're coming back.
Well, but that's exactly what we experienced in the dot-com bubble. You're a little older than me, so you probably remember the dot-com bubble better than me. For me, I was just figuring out how to use the internet. I was like 10 to 13 whenever the dot-com bubble was happening, somewhere in there. But the dot-com bubble, Google made tons of money, but all these other companies, tons and tons of other internet companies completely crashed. That's what I think crypto is. I think crypto is going to be a new wave feature. But but a lot of these smaller crypto stocks are going to tank. I personally think that Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I personally think Doge, but seriously, do not take economic advice from me. This is just speculation. I think I hold like 6,000 Doge coins. I think Doge is going to become something that picks up speed, mainly because of the meme and Elon Musk. But the main point behind that is that whenever you get a new wave of technology, a lot of the stuff crashes. That's what we saw in the dot-com bubble burst. A lot of those internet companies went under, and a few of them made trillions of dollars. I mean, how much money does Google have right now? So I think this is just going to be a lull for maybe a year, 6 months to a year. In crypto, I personally think crypto is going to start picking up before the stock market picks up. But I actually would not be surprised if real estate starts building and art starts building faster, simply because people are scared of the value of the dollar and the value of the stock market. I think real estate's going to be the thing. I think real estate's going to crash, but I think real estate's going to be the thing that starts building its power back soonest.
So I don't think crypto is going away. I just think it's going to become more controlled. And so there's going to be regulations put on it. There was a big court case over the week that Odyssey/Library lost, and that had everything to do with crypto and the way that government deals with it. So I think it's just going to become controlled, and it's not going to be safe. It's something that they want to happen because they have a record of every bit of information. They know where you bought, what you bought, who you bought from, and every single thing about it. And I think it's essential for the ESG that's coming soon. So they need something like that. Yeah, I mean.
Well, I get that, but the ESG scores and stuff like that, I think the internet is in the process of crushing it. Like I was listening to what's the guy, Salty Cracker. I was listening to Salty Cracker the other day, and he was talking about how culturally the Republicans and Libertarians are gaining grounds. The highest, you know, the highest polled or whatever it is, the guy that gets most notoriety on the internet as a rapper is Tom McDonald, and then after that you've got a slew of other people, and they're all Well, they're actually not Republicans. They're all pretty much libertarians. That's literally all of them are libertarian rappers. The highest person, he actually has my T-shirt. The highest person in the
Eric July.
yeah, Eric July, yeah, in the comic book. That's what I was trying to think of. Eric July is the highest person in the comic book stuff. The Because of Trump, we've shifted towards shifting culture. And the problem with shifting culture is it's a long-term play. And this is the reason I get annoyed with Christian churches, especially. Like, I'm a strong Christian, and I can't stand Christian churches for the most part, because most Christians want immediate gratification. They only focus on faith and family. They don't focus on business, which takes a long time to build. They don't focus on building education. They don't focus on building the pillars that shift society. And so I personally think, because of Trump, we're building culture right now. And I think long term, it's going to turn into an amazing play that we have, but it's going to take a couple of years of really hard work. Like, I have a business partner in my lawn care business, and I'm bringing him on. He used to be a subcontractor for me, and I've explained to him that there's going to be at least 1 year, if not 2 years, of hard ass work. And we're going to have to work hard to get this done. But if you learn how to train people properly and identify the people that I can keep underneath the business, then we can get to the point where the business just rides, because there's a good substructure underneath the business that keeps it afloat. We can get to a point where we can take our resources and focus on building real estate, or, getting bobcats and starting plowing fields and stuff like that. There's other things we can do, build a t-shirt business, build bike shops, etc. But
Yeah.
we need to figure out how to get a business that is able to be stable. And that's what I feel like the biggest benefit of Trump is that he shifted the cultural attitude of the Republicans away from immediate gratification and towards long-term building, to where we're actually shifting the culture. Because whether or not you like Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and these other people, they are shifting the culture more towards Republican and libertarian values.
Yeah, so on the Bobcat thing, beware, because a lot of these companies are now putting in chips that are monitoring every bit of your land, and they're also able to shut them off whenever they want to. So there's there's things good things that are happening, but it took it took them trying to push mandatory injections on everybody to get this to happen. And so there's a lot of people that we lost out of that. The other thing is, you mentioned Salty Cracker, and I was watching him yesterday, and he kind of reiterated what I said last week, and that's, don't go to the protests in Arizona. And the reason you don't want to go to those protests in Arizona is because that's where they want you to be. They set these situations up, and they're trying to make these situations turn hot. And if people are there, they can have their agents turn it hot. We already saw what happened with Ray Epps on January 6th. So they've maintained that narrative for 2 years now, and now they're going for pay dirt. And so let the count get finished, and let it get finished properly. Let nothing happen to interrupt it, and then work it out in the courts, because the courts in a lot of ways have been our friend throughout this thing. The OSHA mandate they came around was stopped because of court order, and a lot of these things can get fixed in the courts. They just take time. And the courts, a lot of them are hostile, but a lot of them aren't.
Well, here's an interesting question. I don't disagree with you, but this is an interesting question. Do you remember George Bush and what was the guy that was running against him?
John Kerry?
No, not that one.
Okay, that was
the environmentalist.
Al Gore. Al Gore.
George Bush and Al Gore. All right, so you know who Steve Rogers is, right?
The Captain America. Is it the actor that plays
Steve
him?
Rogers. He was Trump's first campaign manager.
You mean Bannon?
No, that was
okay.
Trump's third campaign manager. Damn it. It's a good point if I can remember his name. But anyway, let's just go with Steve Rogers, Captain America. We'll just go with Steve Rogers. No. Anyway, but what he did during the Al Gore and George Bush with the hanging chads is he had protesters flood the office of the people that were counting the votes, and he stopped the counting the votes. You can see videos of them banging on doors in order to stop the votes. But Stone, his last name is Stone. Stone.
Oh, anyway, Roger Stone.
There we go, Roger Stone. How did I get Steve Rogers out of Roger Stone? Anyway,
Roger.
I guess it's dyslexia. But Roger Stone had people literally storm those campaign the ballot counting offices, and he got them to stop counting in order to reorganize.
Well, optics right now, you can't have an incident like that happen.
Why did optics like that work for him then? Is it just because they weren't prepared?
It's January 6th. It's so all because of January 6th. This is something that the news has inflated for an entire year. The Congress has inflated for an entire year.
That's a very good
2 years.
Point.
Yeah,
it's the wrong time. So they actually might tie into them allow.
This is their
might tie into the honking. That actually might tie in to them being.
You're seeing Democrat 4D chess now. Yeah, you're seeing how they honk. This is their 4D chess.
That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't like the action. It's terrible. We need to learn from it. Golly, that would be if they. That's terrible.
Everything's an op.
That's so crazy if they're playing ops on that level.
Yeah, we're living through psyops. Well, let's close it out.
Let's close it out. There was one other. Well, what? Let's
the
just.
Theme's rolling.
I know, but pause it for a second, and let's talk about. Let's just compliment Trump. I just want to compliment Trump on getting the right people into the courts. Because personally, I don't think they're going to be able to come after the guns successfully. I think Trump locked down the Supreme Court enough that it's going to be really damn hard for them to do anything about the guns. What are your thoughts?
One thing they can do is, and this has been a threat for a little while, is pack the courts. And then, I don't put anything past them. So some really dirty stuff can happen. And that they've been coming after Clarence Thomas's wife for being involved with Q and whatnot. They could try to get rid of him somehow and say that, and do some sort of impeachment. Who knows what they're going to do? Like I said, I don't put anything past them. They play real dirty, but the right needs to start playing just as dirty, if not dirtier. And but you can't play it dirty in a way that it can be perceived as dirty. It's a really difficult place to be in because they own the media and they own academia and they own a lot of things.
So here's a slightly different question. Do you think that people that believed in Q, because for me, I had friends that were telling me about Q and I was just like, really? You seriously believe that, etc. I was just like, really? They have dungeons and all this other stuff. Do you think that those people are waking up to reality? Like part of my thing, this is a way to put it. This is a good way to put it. Part of the thing that I'm annoyed with the church about is the church is always waiting on a miracle to come by or blaming other people for their problems, and never being proactive and going forth and doing and building. Do you think the Q people and the Republican Party, do you think they're, and the Libertarian Party as well, do you think they're starting to wake up and just be like, we need to be the change? Like, for example, Elon Musk going out there buying Twitter, etc. He's making change happen. It may not be the way you wanted to do, you wanted to go, but he's actually making stuff happen. Do you think that the Q people are getting to a point where they've decided that they're going to be the change, or are they still waiting on somebody to make the change for them? Do you think that we've...
As far as I know, they're still waiting for JFK Jr. to reveal that he's been alive this whole time. But Q's an op, and there's a lot of truth sprinkled into it, and that's why it's such an effective op. And since all that truth is sprinkled into it, you have to figure out how to discern what's truth out of it and what's not. And a lot of times when you see it, take it with a grain of salt. And then do exactly what the media tells you not to do. Do your own research. Start listening to people that know something on certain things, and you can find out that, yeah, there are a lot of underground pedophile operations going on in the world. In fact, there's one even tied to the FTX scandal that's happening right now. So, and a crypto guy ended up washing ashore dead because of it. So I think they really want to tie a bunch of stuff to Q stuff so that they can just bring it down anytime they find something that's real. And it's like, this is super real and super damning, and it's pretty unbelievable a lot of times. And then they can tank it by doing the JFK Jr. thing or whatever else, something that's just probably not true, very likely not going to happen. But we've seen all the scandals go on with the Epstein thing. Then there's been a couple of guys that have been caught that were just as bad as Epstein after that, and we heard about their deaths, but we didn't hear anything more from that. It's like Jean-Luc Brunel in France, and then what was the guy's name in Canada? There was a Canadian guy, and yeah. So I mean, this stuff is still going on. There's a lot of secret things going on, and there really is ritualistic sacrifice of children. This happens, and it's not just Q nonsense. So study into that, find out about that. There's a ton of children being trafficked all the time, and it's really messed up and really disgusting. And in fact, there was a Republican side of this, like running the gay ups, the Franklin cover-ups. And I mean, that stuff happened in the 90s and 2000s, So I mean, Bush always hung out with Jeff Gannon / Guckert, this gay prostitute. And yeah, I mean, like, there is a whole bunch of stuff, and you can really start digging and getting into it, figure out what's right, figure out what's wrong, because they taint the evidence.
This has been Burn, Babylon Burn, episode 28. I probably, it might be wise to buy some goats, chickens, and some land.
Yep. And hey, if y'all are listening to us on YouTube, probably might have said something that might get us in trouble. So make sure to check out our Odyssey channel or find us on the Podcasting 2.0 apps. And we got a little ad at the end for our friends over at Grand Theft World Liberty Radio.
I'm black. I'm yellow. I'm red.
I'm gay.
And I am the Drizzle, host of Grand Theft World Liberty Radio. Look, man, here's the deal. If you're not listening to Liberty Radio, then you've got a problem with yourself.
Getting that shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you.
We're still live. We're still live. I wanted to announce that we have a fun little thing that I'm working on, which includes.
Oh, cool.
Well, are we still live?
We are. I keep pressing in the broadcast, and it's saying having problems connecting. Check your internet connection. So, maybe we're not live. Maybe we are.
We're just going to see. But I like putting stuff out into the atmosphere because that kind of holds me accountable to it. So I'm working on. I have a friend he's a decent actor, a decent voice actor. It's not something he professionally does. He does flooring and stuff like that, but he's a really good actor. And so I'm trying to figure out how to do like YouTube shorts of him. Basically, like we were building a fence today, and I want him to come up to me as Gollum and be like, "Master is making Gollum like entrap the cows. He's building borders around the cows." And like, but sir, Mr. Gollum, I'm trying to make sure the cows stay safe and don't get hit by cars. But you're restricting the cows' freedom. I'm trying to build, that's just an example of an idea that got built up.
Well, I'm gonna try by closing the window. Just
close the window
and then coming back. Yeah.
If this is live, it would be ridiculous. Okay.
Answer.